So we were discussing about the classification of this free radicals. Next classification, that is alkyl, then allyl as well as benzyl free radicals. Okay, alkyl free radical, it is RCH2. Then allyl free radical means the formula will be, it is an allyl compound. Okay, CH2 double bond CH, single bond CH2 dot. This is allyl free radical. Then comes benzyl free radical, that is C6H5 CH2 dot. Benzyl free radical. Benzyl free radical. Okay. Then the next is coming to the stability of free radicals. As in the previous cases, we have been explaining the stability of the free radicals in terms of inductive effect, hyperconjugation as well as resonance. Okay. So first is stability in terms of inductive effect. Explanation of stability in terms of inductive effect. Explanation of stability in terms of inductive effect. Okay. So here free radicals, while considering a free radical, say suppose methyl free radical CH3 dot. Okay. CH3 dot. So how many electrons are there in total? 2, then 4, 5, 6, isn't it? So total 6 electrons plus 1 odd electron. So in total it will be having 7 electrons for this particular carbon atom, isn't it? So this particular carbon atom has got 7 electrons. And also see, for having a stable octet inert structure, how many electrons are necessary? 8 electrons are necessary. That means this particular carbon atom, it is electron deficient. It is 1 electron deficient, isn't it? It is 1 electron deficient. So this carbon atom, it is having an unpaired electron, and while to this carbon atom, for example, CH3 group is attached to a free radical, CH2 free radical. Okay, so here CH3 group is attached to this methylene free radical or CH2 dot. So what happens to the CH3? What about the effect of the CH3 electron displacement effect of the CH3 group? CH3 group, it is having a plus I effect, isn't it? It is having a plus I effect. So what happens? The electron displacement will be towards this particular carbon atom, which is electron deficient. Okay, CH3 group is an electron deficient, CH3 group is a plus I effect group, or it is an electron releasing. Plus I effect means it is electron releasing. So as a result, what happens? It will be shifting the electron to this electron deficient carbon atom. So what happens? The electron density increases in this particular carbon atom, isn't it? Therefore, electron density increases. Electron density increases in the carbon free radical, isn't it? So what happens? What happens to the stability? The electron density is increasing. That means the stability is increased, or the deficiency will be decreased, or we can say that since the electron density is increasing, the stability will be increasing. Stability increases if a plus I group effect group is attached to this particular carbon atom. Similarly, in the case of CH3, two CH3 groups, CH3 twice CH dot. Okay, so how many CH3 groups are attached to this carbon free radical? 2 methyl groups are attached to this carbon free radical. So again, what happens? The electron displacement or the electron releasing effect will be towards this carbon atom, isn't it? The electron releasing effect will be towards this carbon atom. So the electron deficiency will further be increased due to the electron deficiency will further be decreased due to the presence of these 2 methyl groups. Okay, so what happens? The electron deficiency decreases. That means the stability increases. Similar explanation as in the case of ethyl free radical for the isopropyl. Same as in the case of, explanation is same, but here it is having 2 methyl groups, so the effect is doubled, isn't it? Then coming to the next one, tertiary butyl, CH3. See here, 3 methyl groups are there, so the electron density will further be increased in this carbon atom, isn't it? Therefore, the stability will further increase. Okay, so comparing these three, that is CH3 free radical, then CH3 twice CH3, CH2 free radical, then coming to CH3 twice CH, then CH3 thrice CH. While comparing all these three, which one will be having the greater stability? This tertiary butyl will be having the greater stability. Stability high. Tertiary butyl will be having the higher stability. That means the CH3 group, it is less stable while comparing to this ethyl free radical, and then ethyl free radical will be less stable compared to this isopropyl free radical. Then isopropyl free radical will further be less stable than this tertiary butyl free radical. So the stability increases in this order. And the most stable one will be tertiary butyl free radical, and the least stable will be this primary or this methyl free radical. Okay, so this is the explanation given by inductive effect. Next we can go through the explanation of stability in terms of hyperconjugation. In terms of hyperconjugation. Hyperconjugation. See here in this case, in the case of hyperconjugation, see I am writing ethyl free radical CH3, then CH2 free radical. Okay, here one electron pair and the one lone pair of electron, and it is present in the unhybridized p orbital. Okay, so here this CH bond, this is the CH sigma bond, 3 CH sigma bonds are there, and these CH sigma bond, it is in conjugation with the p orbital which is having the unpaired electron. So this is the p orbital, and this CH sigma bond, it is in conjugation with the p orbital having the unpaired electron, isn't it? So what happens? There is a chance for hyperconjugation. Okay, so then we can see how this hyperconjugation works. So this is the CH sigma bond. So how many CH sigma bonds are there? 1, 2, 3. So we can write 3 hyperconjugative structures, isn't it? It represents number of hyperconjugative structures, means it will be equal to the number of alpha hydrogen atoms. So here this is the alpha carbon, and how many alpha hydrogens? This is alpha hydrogen 1, and this is the second alpha hydrogen, and this is the third alpha hydrogen. So 3 alpha hydrogens are there. So therefore we can write 3 hyperconjugative structures. Okay, then we can write the hyperconjugative structures. CH3, CH2 free radical. So first of all, this bond breaks. So one electron will be going to this hydrogen atom, and the second electron will be going to this bond. Okay, so that we will be having the next hyperconjugative structure. So what happens? One electron from this bond, it will be joining with this one to form a double bond here. Okay, this electron will be coming here to form a bond with this unpaired electron, so that we will be having CH, CH, then here it becomes a double bond CH2, then here one hydrogen atom. This there will not be any bond between this carbon and hydrogen, and it is called as no bond resonance, isn't it? We have studied in hyperconjugation. So this is the first hyperconjugative structure. Similarly, we can write hyperconjugative structures for with respect to these 2 hydrogen atoms also. Okay, so I am writing the hyperconjugative structures. So second one I am writing for this hydrogen atom. So it will be CH dot, then single bond H, then here it becomes double bond CH2. This is the next hyperconjugative structure. Then the next one with respect to this hydrogen atom. Okay, so HCH, then here it becomes H dot, here it becomes double bond CH2. This is the third hyperconjugative structure. Okay, so here see hyperconjugative structure, 3 hyperconjugative structures are there. That means it is stable. Then we have to compare the stability of starting from this methyl free radical, then ethyl free radical CH3 CH2 dot, then isopropyl free radical, that is CH3 CH CH3 dot, Then tertiary butyl free radical CH3, CH3, then CH3 dot. Okay. So while for in all these cases, see which one, this particular one, it is not having any CH sigma bond, isn't it? There is no alpha hydrogen atom for this. So there is no chance for hyperconjugation in the case of methyl free radical. Okay. There is no alpha hydrogen atom. There is no alpha carbon, isn't it? This is the carbon carrying this free radical, and there is no alpha carbon attached to this carbon atom. So no alpha hydrogen for this. No alpha hydrogen, no alpha carbon, so no alpha hydrogen. Therefore, this methyl group, it is not stable while comparing with other one. Then the next one, ethyl free radical, it will be having 3 alpha hydrogens, isn't it? 3 alpha hydrogens means it will be having 3 hyperconjugative structures. I am writing it as HC. You have to write in detail. So this will be having 3 hyperconjugative structures since 3 alpha hydrogens are there. Then in the next one, CH3 twice CH dot. Here how many alpha hydrogens are there? 3 plus 3, isn't it? So in total 6 alpha hydrogens are there. So how many hyperconjugative structures? 6 hyperconjugative structures are possible. Okay. Then the last one, coming to this tertiary butyl. How many alpha hydrogens? 3 plus 3 plus 3. Total 9 alpha hydrogens. So it will be having 9 hyperconjugative structures. Okay. So therefore, this stability depends upon the number of hyperconjugative structures. So as the number of hyperconjugative structure increases, stability also increases. Stability also increases. So the stability is maximum for tertiary butyl and least for this methyl free radical. So it will be like this. The arrow will be CH3 free radical will be less stable than ethyl, which is less stable than isopropyl, which is less stable than tertiary butyl free radical. Okay. So this also, it is very, very important. You have to study this also. Okay. So in this chapter, there is no portion to omit. All the topics are important. You can have questions from any of these part. Okay. Next is the stability in terms of resonance. Okay. Stability in terms of resonance. Stability in terms of resonance. So first one, we have to compare this in terms of resonance means we have to compare allyl as well as benzyl free radicals. Okay, allyl free radical, the formula is CH2 double bond CH single bond CH2 dot. This is allyl free radical. So again you have to write the distribution of electrons. So what about the resonating structure of this allyl free radical? This is allyl. So this particular double bond breaks and the 2 electrons will be symmetrically distributed between these 2 carbon atoms, so that this carbon will be getting 1 electron and this carbon will be having 1 electron, and these 2 will be joining together to form a double bond. So that will be the next structure, and this carbon will be having 1 odd electron. Okay, so CH2 dot, isn't it? This electron will be going to this carbon atom and this becomes a single bond, then CH, then here it becomes this odd electron and this odd electron, it becomes a double bond. Okay, so this is the second structure. CH2 single bond, CH double bond, CH2. So this is the first resonating structure and this is the second resonating structure. Okay, next is the stability of benzyl free radical. Benzyl free radical, the formula is C6H5CH2. C6H5CH2, benzyl free radical. Benzyl free radical. So here what happens, first of all, this bond breaks and symmetrical distribution of electrons. So 1 electron will be going to this bond and the second electron will be going to this carbon atom. Okay, so that the next structure will be like this. Here it is having an odd electron and from here 1 more electron, so it becomes a double bond CH2. Okay, for this carbon atom, one electron is free, then the other two bonds are retained. Okay, then the next one, double bond CH2, then this particular bond breaks and one electron will be moving to this position and the second one will be moving to this position. So here it becomes a double bond at this position, and here an odd electron at this carbon atom, then already a double bond is present at this position. Okay, then the next one, double bond CH2, here already double bond, and this bond breaks, one electron to this position and another one to this position. So here it becomes a double bond and one electron here. Then the next structure, what happens? This double bond breaks and one electron will be moving to this carbon and the other one will be moving to this carbon atom, this position, so that it becomes CH2 dot, then here it becomes a double bond, then here already two double bonds are there. Okay, so these are the different resonating structures. One, the second structure, then the third one, then the fourth one, and then the fifth one. Okay, so these are the 5 different resonating structures. And also, while comparing allyl and benzyl, which one will be more stable? Benzyl will be more stable. Benzyl will be more stable than allyl, isn't it? Because what is the reason? Because this benzyl has got more number of resonating structures. More number of resonating structures. More number of resonating structures for benzyl. Free radical. Okay, so that is the reason. So if asked, you have to draw the resonating structures also. Okay. So as the number of contributing structure increases, the stability also increases. Then you have to compare benzyl free radical, benzyl free radical, then diphenyl methyl free radical, CH dot, then triphenyl methyl free radical. Triphenyl methyl, this is diphenyl methyl, diphenyl methyl, then this is triphenyl methyl. So which one will be having greater stability while comparing all these 3? See, in the first case, the delocalization of this electron will be taking place in a single benzene ring, isn't it? But here what happens? This delocalization will be carried out in between these 2 rings, isn't it? And in the third case, the delocalization will take place over the 3 benzene rings, and therefore from benzyl to diphenyl to triphenyl methyl, the stability will be maximum for this triphenyl methyl radical. Okay, so the stability, benzyl will be less stable than this diphenyl methyl, which is less stable than this triphenyl methyl free radical. Okay, benzyl less than diphenyl methyl, then less than triphenyl methyl. So the most stable one will be this triphenyl methyl free radical, since the delocalization it is carried over these 3 rings. Okay, so we can compare the stability of all the free radicals by in this order. That is, first of all, the least stable will be the CH3, CH3 less than ethyl, CH3, CH2 dot, which is less than CH3 twice CH, which is less than CH3 thrice C, which is less than allyl, isn't it? Allyl means CH2 double bond CH single bond CH2 dot, which is less than C6H5 CH2 dot, which is less than C6H5 twice CH, which is less than C6H5 thrice C. That means this is the triphenyl methyl free radical. Okay, triphenyl methyl. So the most stable one among these will be this triphenyl methyl free radical, and the least stable will be this methyl free radical. This is the most stable, and this is the least stable. Okay, so this is about the stability. Hope you are clear with the stabilities. So this is a repetition of what you have studied in carbocations as well as carbanions. Okay, so while studying you have to do this in a systematic manner so that it will be easy to understand. Okay, then the next is coming to the reactions of free radicals. Reactions of free radicals. See, two types of reactions are there for this this free radicals, and the first category is that this free radical addition reaction. Free radical addition reaction, and the second one is the free radical displacement reactions. Free radical addition reaction and free radical displacement. See, addition reaction means it can otherwise be called as addition or coupling reaction. Okay, addition or coupling reaction. See here, for example, first of all we can go through the addition reaction. Addition reaction, for example, CH3, it is a simple reaction, CH3 dot plus CH3 dot, giving what happens, these two will be joining to form a bond, so that it becomes CH3 single bond CH3. So this is an addition or a radical coupling reaction, free radical coupling reaction. Free radical coupling reaction. Then this coupling, it can be in another form also. There can be a radical disproportionation also. This is radical coupling, a simple joining of these two radicals. And in the second case, it can be like this, CH3 CH2 dot, okay, plus another molecule of CH2 dot CH3. That means two ethyl free radicals. Okay, so here there will be a disproportionation of this particular reaction takes place. That means this CH2 dot will be combining to this CH2 dot to form a double bond. Okay, and also this, that means at this point this bond breaks, and this CH3 will be getting one odd electron. Here also this bond breaks, and so here it will be having two electrons, isn't it? This carbon will be getting one more electron, and this carbon also it will be having one more electron. This methyl group will be having one electron. So this CH2 two dots and this CH2 two dots will be joining to form CH2 double bond CH2. Okay, and again the remaining part will be CH3 dot plus CH3 dot. So it will be forming CH3 single bond CH3. Okay, so this is the radical disproportionation reaction. So along with this addition or coupling reaction, there are so many reactions also. That is, the next is elimination reaction. Displacement I will be telling later. So next is elimination reaction. Say for example, Br, CH, Br. This is the example given in your textbook. Single bond CH dot Br. Okay, so this is one free radical. So here what happens is that one of this bond breaks, and this will be having, this bromine atom will be getting one electron. This bond breaks, and this bromine will be getting one electron, and this carbon will be getting one electron. See, one equal distribution of electrons takes place here, so that this bromine got freed up, and it will be as Br free radical. Okay, plus the remaining will be Br, CH. Then here this carbon will be having one electron already, isn't it, if this bond breaks, isn't it? So this Br single bond CH, then this two will be joining to form a double bond. So Br single bond CH, then here it becomes double bond CH, then again single bond Br. So this is an elimination reaction. Okay, so this particular bond breaks and this one will be getting 2 free radicals each. Then the next one, that is the polymerization reaction. Polymerization reaction. See here, polymerization reaction means, see, this is a double bonded compound. Okay, say it has ethylene, a double bonded compound. To it, an I dot or I free radical is joining. Okay, so what happens is that this particular bond breaks, this pi bond breaks, and this carbon will be getting 1 electron and this carbon will be getting 1 electron. Again, this I dot will be joining to this carbon atom. Okay, so I, then single bond, C, single bond. Here it becomes, this bond is already broken, so it is a single bond, C, and this carbon will be having 1 free radical. Okay, then to this again, one more ethylene molecule or an unsaturated compound will be joining. So again what happens? This particular bond breaks and this C dot, it becomes C dot, C dot, isn't it? So again to this position, this carbon will be joining. Okay, so that the length of this alkane will be increasing. So the next compound will be I, C, then again C, this particular CC will be joined, C, then again this particular carbon atom, 2 bonds. Okay, so this is the polymerization reaction. Okay, so we have seen addition reactions, elimination, then polymerization, and the last one, that is the rearrangement reaction. Rearrangement reaction. Rearrangement reaction. Say for example, CH3, C, CH3, then again one C6H5 group is attached to this carbon atom, single bond CH2 dot. Okay, so here rearrangement of this phenyl group takes place. Okay, for that this particular bond breaks, and therefore what happens, this carbon will be getting 1 electron and this C6H5 group will be getting 1 electron. Okay, so in the next step what happens is that this C6H5 free radical will be joining to this CH2 dot. Okay, so here a bond is formed between this carbon and this C6H5. Okay, so I am writing that particular bond CCH3, CCH3. Then this C6H5, it is moved to this carbon atom. So CH2, C6H5 it becomes. Then this carbon will be having 1 free electron as such. Okay, this is the rearrangement reaction. Okay, so these are some of the important reactions of this carbon free radicals. Okay, so in the next video we will be discussing another type of reactive intermediates, that is carbenes, nitrines, etc. and also some of the reactions also, that is you have to study the introduction part of pericyclic reactions also. So in the next video I will be discussing the pericyclic reactions. Okay, so with that the first chapter will be over. The reaction mechanism part 1 will be over. Okay, so thank you.